All right, thanks for listening in to hear the LiDAR development for Sensagrate and using Supervisely's tool to do 3D annotation. The first thing that we'll go over is the ouster for the 64 channel, and I'll walk you through the full screen and how to annotate objects and how to identify objects. So the first thing to know is you can do a full screen by pressing here under full screen or function F11, and then you have hotkeys that allow you to orient yourself within inside the frame of the point cloud. I won't go through these in details because you will have the hotkeys in the top right corner as a reminder, but I'll just browse through them for your visuals. On the right side here, you'll see a handful of frames. There's about a total of 325 in this folder, and it's labeled Supervisely or OS New -3. In each page, there's about 50 frames. So you'll start on the first frame. You may have an image to help you understand the field of view of the point cloud, but for this case we do not. So I'll teach you how to understand and identify and detect the objects in the frame. So the first thing is to click on the Add Cuboid on the left side of the menu. You'll want to scroll in to see these objects that look like people and annotate on them. So you'll click the cuboid on the object, it'll zoom in. You'll be able to use the mouse and keypad buttons and directional buttons to zoom in and zoom around to make sure the cuboid has all the points inside. So below you can adjust this bar here to shrink and increase and decrease your field of view for the top view, side view, and front view. For the top view, it allows you to orient to center the cube over the object. The side view allows you can use the mouse to scroll your field of view as increase or decrease. But the side view you can drag downward to capture the box, the cuboid, to cover the entire object. And you'll make those adjustments as you go through. So I'll use the keypad to turn around and see the objects more clearly to make sure that I am giving full coverage from the top view and side views. Even a point cloud that has a couple points here and here outside the box, you want to make sure that's covered. And you can tell the position of the box by this little square rectangle hook on the end to know where the place of the cube is to the image. Then I'll rotate the image to make sure the cuboid is within all of the points to make up that person or pedestrian as an object. So I'll do it one more time with a different field of view and a different person and try to find it in there. So In the point cloud, as you get familiar, you'll be able to understand what objects are. Since this is really high resolution point cloud, you'll be able to identify objects pretty clearly. If you have any questions, just send us a screenshot and do some markings on there to point into your question, and we'll help you classify that object. So there's another person walking up a staircase with railings. We'll click the cuboid button, highlight over the object, and then we'll make adjustments on our top view and side view. Then I'll do a last check to make sure I captured everything. It can be hard sometimes when the point cloud is right against another wall, but you can literally squeeze in there and see things to see where you're at. Another way to do it is to have a top view and scroll back to kind of see that you got everything from a top view. And for the most part, it looks like we've captured everything. I may make the box a little bit bigger just to capture everything, and then I'll do a side check here. Sorry to make you dizzy with this view, but I'll do a side check to verify that it has everything. And you'll be able to make your adjustments on how you navigate the view based on your own comforts, but it'll take some time to adjust. So that's how you start annotating on the Outsteer 64 channel. There's about an average of 15 frames per or 15 objects per frame, but there could be upwards of 20 plus, or no more than 1 or 2 or even 5. So we have to go through. Now we're going to go through the 16 channel, the Velodyne, and do annotation on there. Now this one's a little bit more tricky because you can see already the resolution is very low. So just to kind of give you a bit of understanding of which ones are cars. Cars will have 2 to 3 lines, or maybe 4, and they'll have like this curve L to them. Now this one is just a sample, but we'll try to give you data that has a little more easy to tell what the objects are. So even if you look from the top, you can see, you can make out what the object is a little bit more clearly, but not 100% perfectly like you'll see in the 64 channel. So this one, you're going to do a cuboid. You're going to have to create a label sometimes, so we'll have to do cars. Otherwise, they're pedestrians. I think we're using a green color for the vehicles. So if there's a object you need to annotate but aren't sure, please ask us what to create as. So the car will be started. We'll have to change it a lot because of its positioning. You see here, you can tilt it back upwards and downwards. You want to keep the rectangle perpendicular to the field of view, but you can make changes and then rotate it as needed. So from the top view here, you can really see the full view of the car. But we're going to have to tilt it here, rotate it to get it to be over there exactly. So now we see the top view, and you can see scrolling back on the top view really helped to get the full leverage, the full angle. And we're going to make an adjustment to tilt it because it's slightly off. And tilt it back up, and rotate it. There we go. And then we're going to draw this down to get the field of view at its base. Now it's probably a little bit higher there, but the point cloud should be inside, and we'll have to make some changes to how it's positioned because the image is, the car is flat, but the image from where we got this from is not. So that's how you annotate a car. You'll double check if it met our height, so we see there need to cover a little bit more, and it should have the whole car in view. And you can confirm that from the top view here, has all angles covered. So now we'll do another car to give you another perspective, and then we'll also be able to show you how to do people, but we'll have to do that in person during recording. This is just from one frame perspective. So I'll annotate the next car here. Make adjustments. And as you start working on this, you'll get more familiar with how the tool works. Then we know the height is way too high. It's just above where it needs to be, so we'll pull it all the way down. We'll even make adjustments to our field of view. So we're going to slightly do below where you assume the tires are and where the roof is. The 16 channel doesn't give you really good resolution, so you'll have to make sometimes a guesstimate, but you do want to be pretty accurate so that our algorithms and our deep learning can understand what objects are. And we'll do peer reviews so people will be able to give you feedback on your annotations, but you definitely want to be as precise. We'll do one more. There's another car here. And if you mess up, you can go over here under objects, press the next to the eye. You can delete the object and then restart your annotation. And make sure you're using these navigational buttons for move scene or the mouse to click around. I always do the directional one to move around and get back to where I want to go. All right. This one's a little tricky because it's not identifying the object. So I'll have to move it over from the top view and re-center it. Alright, so now we got our angles. We'll make adjustments to get the full coverage of the vehicle. Make a turn. And it's kind of nice because the top views and side views and front views don't change position. So all I have to do is just make adjustments on the sides. Get the full angle. And then drop it down. Make adjustments. Now we're basically over the car from the top view, or the top screen, and then we'll drop it down. And your heights for the vehicles are going to vary, but our algorithms are also built to make adjustments to kind of create an average. So if you feel like it's a little too high, it'll be fine. If you feel like it's a little too low, it'll be fine, but definitely try to get as much in what you believe the vehicle length and height and width is. So those are three vehicles you can see in this point cloud. We're in a parking lot, so there's a lot of vehicles that do come into play. And you can go to settings on the right here and make adjustments to your field of view. You can do point cloud view as regular, or you could do it as distance. Distance is just more range, and then we're on depth, which gives us a more vibrant color looking pattern. Perspective field of view, you can decrease and increase that. Increasing it zooms out, while increasing it zooms in, or decreasing it zooms in, sorry. You can change the point size, which will help identify some of the objects. We tend to stay between 0.04 and 0.1. But the higher the point size, the more dense the objects will come in, which will help with some of your annotation. Now you can kind of see with it increasing, there you can see more cars a little more clearly. And we'll want you to annotate every single object that you can make out in your field of view. And then you can also change the point size and add a grid to help you identify where objects are too. So that's kind of a full high-level summary of how to do annotation with point cloud. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. And the best way is to send a screenshot with some edits on it so we can help point you in the right direction of what needs to be completed. Thank you.